if you want to speak in English, make sentences by yourself, because without making sentences by yourself, you never gain fluency in speaking English. So if you want to really speak in English, you have to make sentences by yourself. So I will highly recommend to you, if you wanna speak in English, you have to make sentences by yourself, because how much video means English contents you watch, this is not matter. If you wanna speak, means if you want to speak in English, you have to speak in English, you have to make sentences in English, because English is a oral production, because speaking is a oral production. You have to make sound with mouth. This is right thing. If you will so much mistake in beginner level, but you have to make sentences. In beginner level, mistake is doesn't matter. Everyone makes mistake in beginner level, and when you make sentences by yourself, try to use synonym. Means when you make sentences by yourself, that time you say some words, that time search some synonym, so that you can use instead of some words. Means when you learn synonym of a particular word, that time you can use that synonym word instead of what words you use in first time. So try to learn some synonyms. It will help you make sentences easily, because when you forget a words, that time you can use another synonym of that particular words. It will help you to think in English so fast. So I will highly recommend to you, make sentences by yourself if you want to speak in English, and learn some synonyms. It will help you to think in fast in English if you learn some synonyms of some words. And you also have to learn some phrases, because in English language so many person use so many phrases. So it will help you to speak better in English if you learn synonym. If you learn phrase. So I will highly recommend to you learn some phrases and document those all kinds of phrases on your particular notebook. Documenting will help you so much to recover or revise what kinds of thing you learn, because any kinds of thing when we learn, we forget those all kinds of thing some days later or a few days later. So when you forget those all kinds of thing, if you write on a particular notebooks, means you document on a particular notebooks, after forgetting a few days later or a few weeks later, you can revise those all kinds of thing from that particular notebook. So I will highly recommend to you what kinds of thing you learn in everyday basis, what kinds of thing you learn about English in everyday. documents those all kinds of things on a particular notebooks. Like you have learned phrases, documents or write that phrases on your notebook. Like you learn a new words. After learning that new words, write or document on your notebooks. And if you learn a new phrases, after learning that phrases, you have to document or you have to write that particular phrases on your notebook, because when you forget those all kinds of phrases, all kinds of words, all kinds of sentences, you can check or you can revise from that particular notebook. It not only help you it but also help you others person, other generation. So I will highly recommend you, if you wanna really speak in English, you have to documents, you have to write those all kinds of things, what kinds of things you learn in everyday basis. So follow these things if you really wanna speak in English. And it's not a ending process, it's a continuous process. You have to do this thing continuously, because speaking is not a ending process. Speaking is a continuous process, because when we speak in our mother tongue, always we think about any kinds of thing in our mother tongue. Like this way, if you wanna speak a different language without your mother tongue, you have to think like a mother tongue about that particular language. What kinds of thing you wanna to learn, means what second language you want to learn, you have to think all kinds of things with this language, because without thinking with this language you never gain fluency in English speaking. So you have to think always so many things with that language, what language you want to learn. It can be English, it can be Spanish. What kinds of languages you wanna learn, means you want to learn, you have to think always various kinds of things with that particular language. When you think, that time automatically will come with your mouth. Without thinking, never will come with your mouth. So I will highly recommend you follow these simple topics, because it's a journey, it's a not one time process. You have to go through this journey. Without going through this journey, you never can speak English. And without doing this thing, you also have to do some other things, like you have to write 1 page or 2 pages in every day. You have to read some content in English, what kinds of things you like to read. It varies or depends person to person, because every person doesn't like everything. So what kinds of thing you like, you can read those kinds of things. And you can listen some podcast, you can listen audios in English, you can watch some English videos to improve your listening and pronunciation. Because you have to remember one thing, listening is all about pronunciation. Means pronunciation is all about listening, because when you listen a thing, that time you try to pronounce like that particular way when you listen about any particular thing. So if you really want to speak in English, you have to follow these things, you have to go through these things. So I will highly recommend to you for following these things. I am again saying, I will highly recommend you to follow these simple things. It will help you so much to speak English better and feel comfortable and confident in English speaking.